Hi, my name is Miss Bimbo. I'm a Nigerian trained pharmacist and a UK care assistant, and you're welcome to my channel once again. If you are a skilled worker in the UK or you intend to move to the United Kingdom in 2024 as a skilled worker to come and work, then you need to stay abreast of all the necessary updates that are currently ongoing in the UK. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing 4 different updates for every skilled worker or intending skilled workers. So do stay tuned and watch to the end. Under the UK's new point-based immigration system, skilled workers from overseas need to meet certain criteria, including a certificate of sponsorship from a licensed sponsor like COS from a company that has the license to issue the COS, as well as the minimum salary threshold needs to be met. And from 6th of April thereabouts, the minimum salary threshold for skilled workers is set to increase from £26,200 per annum to £38,700, which accounts for about 48% increase in minimum salary threshold. This should be a good news, really, but this means that employers hiring skilled workers from overseas need to meet this new minimum salary threshold for them to be able to meet up with the new point-based immigration system, right? And according to the Home Office, this is to ensure that the integrity of the UK's labour market is maintained, and also to encourage employers to employ British citizens and not continue to look outside for people to come and work in the UK. In their own word, a system cannot continue to bring in foreign workers to work for them, which is true. But as much as this should have been like a good news to everybody, because we should be expecting to be paid higher if at all you get employed by a UK employer from outside the UK, it doesn't seem to be a good news, because what this means is that not many employers might be willing to pay this high, like a 48% increase, apart from maybe those who are in tech as data analysts or maybe in cyber security and the likes. And this leads me to the second update, which is a change in the previous shortage occupation list to the now immigration salary list. So in December 2023, after Rishi Sunak was bent on reducing net immigration at all costs, the Home Office came up with a 5-point plans on how to achieve the reduction in net migration, and I shared the video here. You can check out the video. And one of the plans was to increase the minimum salary threshold, which they have done, and now they saddled MAC, which is the Migration Advisory Council, with the responsibility of going to sit down to review the shortage occupation list and come up with a revised occupation list. So on 23rd of February 2024, MAC came up with a temporary immigration salary list. That is what it's now called, and it includes just 21 occupations on it. And we don't know for certain whether the Home Office is going to continue with the 20% discount that they give to employers that their occupation are on this list, or maybe they are going to scrap that 20% discount. If they continue with the 20% discount, what this means is that any occupation on that immigration salary list will enjoy 20% off the minimum salary threshold, and as such, the minimum salary threshold for that occupation on that list is going to be £30,960 rather than the £38,700. So any occupation that makes it to the immigration salary list is still going to continue to enjoy the subsidized visa application fees. Now let's quickly go to the UK Gov to check out what different skilled workers pay as application fee. When you apply for a skilled worker visa, you will need to have enough money to pay the application fee. The standard fee ranges from £719 to £1,005, depending on your circumstances. You will need to pay the healthcare surcharge, which is usually £1,035 per year. You will also support yourself when you arrive in the UK. You will usually need to have at least £1,270 available, except you are exempt. It now says that you will pay a lower application fee if your job is on the shortage occupation list. So this means that if your occupation makes it to this new immigration salary list, your visa application fee will also be subsidized hugely. It is also important to say here that for care workers, healthcare visa, you are not paying healthcare surcharge. And also your visa application fee is more subsidized. Like, it is way cheaper. It's like the cheapest healthcare visa. The visa application fee is about 280 something. It is very, very cheap. Now, if you are applying from outside the UK, the standard fee depends on whether you'll be in the UK for up to 3 years. So if you are just coming into the UK on a COS, if you are staying for up to 3 years, you will pay £719 per person. And then for more than 3 years, if you have 5 years COS, you will pay 1,420 per person. But if you are applying from inside the UK and your job is not on this is for category of people whose occupations are not on the shortage occupation list, right? To extend or switch or update your visa, the standard fee depends on whether you've been in the UK for up to 3 years. So if your job is not on the shortage occupation, you will have to pay £827 per person, or for more than 3 years, you pay 1,005 per person. It says if your job is on the shortage occupation list. Now let us see how much you are going to be paying, and let's see the difference. Now, if your job is on the shortage occupation list, it doesn't matter whether you are just coming from outside the UK or you are renewing your visa if you are in the UK. You will have to pay 551 if you are staying for up to 3 years. You to compare it to 719, it's a huge difference. And then you will have to pay 1,084 if you're staying for more than 3 years. In contrast to 1,005, that's like a £416 difference for 5 years COS if your occupation is on the shortage occupation list, compared to if your occupation is not on the shortage occupation list. So this is also a good news if your occupation makes it to the immigration salary list. So on 4th of April, Mark is finally going to come up with the list, like the final list that will contain all the occupations that they want to be on that list. Whether it's just going to be the 21 occupations or they are going to add more, we find out on the 4th of April. However, it is important to say here that care assistants and senior care assistants, as well as those occupations that are on the national pay scale, such as the teachers and the NHS staff, I mean, like the civil servants of the UK, are not affected by this minimum salary threshold. Also, the current list on this immigration salary list is like 8% of the skilled work of the total skilled jobs in the UK, unlike the previous shortage occupation list, which accounted for about 33% of all the skilled jobs in the UK. So that is to tell you that they have really reduced the list from like 100 of occupations to just 21. The third major update is that of the standard occupation code, which has changed from that of the 2010 to 2020. So they have revised the standard occupation codes, and this is more important for employers to note. In case they want to write a certificate of sponsorship, they should put in the correct code, because some occupation codes have changed while some are still the same. So employers need to input the correct codes on the COS in order to avoid visa denials of their intending employees. Finally, on the 12th of March, which was last week Tuesday, the Home Office Secretary, James Cleverly, announced again, or let me just say reminded us about one of the points in the 5 plans on cutting down net migration, which is reviewing the post-study work visa, that is the graduate visa. So the Migration Advisory Council, MAC, has also been saddled with another responsibility to go and review whether this graduate visa is fulfilling the purpose for which it was created. By the way, post-study work visa, which is also known as a graduate visa, is for students in the UK to stay back after their studies for 2 years or 3 years, depending on what course they have studied. And within this time, they're expected to look for a job and then start a job in their own field. So the Home Office wants to be sure that people are not abusing this particular visa and that it is still fulfilling the purpose for which they created it. As a result, many people are panicking because we do not know what the result of this review is going to be, whether it's going to favor the students or otherwise. Because if MAC comes up with scrapping the post-study work visa, or maybe reducing or shortening the duration of the post-study work visa, it's going to cause a lot of students to become devastated. Because imagine students that had finished their studies and were waiting on their care employers now to issue a certificate of sponsorship, but the employer was not getting approval from the Home Office. But eventually on the 11th of March, which happened to be the deadline, the employer was able to issue out the certificate of sponsorship to the students. And in an attempt to apply for their visa using the COS and for their dependents, they got a mail that states, unfortunately, you cannot go ahead with your dependents application. And as a result, they couldn't even use the certificate of sponsorship, because of what point is it if their dependents have to go back home while they remain here to work? So now they are still going to opt for the post-study work visa. If anything happens to this route, to this graduate route, is going to leave them even more devastated. So these are the current updates. I know they are not very palatable, but I can only wish everyone the best. Keep abreast of all the happenings around you. And if today is your first time coming across my channel, why don't you like this video and subscribe to the channel and share this video out. Thank you guys, and I hope to see you in my next one.